Good morning, everybody. We'll wait just a minute until we get a couple people on here. Just a slow Monday morning listening to some smooth jazz. If you ever hear that in the background, that happens to be my favorite music, smooth jazz. And people have asked me, so what is that you're listening to? You know, it's not for everybody, but it's what I listen to. And so, well, got a few on here, so I'm going to go ahead and start. But actually, late last night, I was thinking about the devotion I want to do for today, and my mind kind of went back. Let me start it with a story of something that happened, true story. Back in the 90s, I was pastoring in a small town, Illinois. There was a woman in that church that was very, very close to my family, and I'll leave it at that because I wouldn't want to identify anybody there, but this lady was having some very serious health problems that was just giving her fits, had headaches that were just debilitating, a lot of other issues going on as well. And she'd gone to doctor after doctor, couldn't find any help. And they finally had her scheduled to go to Mayo Clinic. And, excuse me, she was getting ready to go to Mayo Clinic. I think it was like on Thursday of a particular week. On that particular Sunday evening, as I was preaching, I just stopped and I called her name and I said, I feel like the Lord's telling me that we need to pray for you right now. And she came forward, the church gathered around, and we prayed. And I'm going to tell you that the power of God moved. It was just a miraculous feeling in the air. And I knew before she even said it, and she testified just a few moments later, and she said, Pastor, she said, I felt the power of God go through me, and she said, I'm healed. I know I'm healed. She said, I'm without a headache for the first time in months. And went on with the testimony. It doesn't really matter right now, but what I want to focus on is that when she finished, her husband, and I love this man, I really did love him dearly. He's gone on with the Lord now, but I know he was saying this out of care and compassion. He loved his wife, but he said, well, I hear you talking, and I don't care what you got to say, so we're going to the Mayo Clinic, and we're going to see what those doctors can do for you. Now, a day or so later, that woman happened to watch my children for me, and she told me, she said, Pastor, she said, I lost my healing Sunday night. And I asked her, so what do you mean? And she said, I felt it leave me. She said, because I gave in to doubt and fear. And she said, and I felt the miracle leaving my body. Now, I'm not going to argue the theological things. I can only go by what the testimony of what this precious woman had to say. But it got me to thinking about what I want to talk about for just a couple of moments today. In Romans chapter 4, verse 21, Paul said these words, being fully convinced that what he had promised, he was able to do or able to perform. Let me read that again. Being fully convinced that what he had promised, he was also able to perform. See, I'm convinced that much like this woman said, that much of the time, the reason that we don't turn to God more often is because on some basic, unconscious, maybe even level, we're not fully convinced that God is able to do what we need and to move on our behalf. Being able to admit that is crucial because, a lot of people say, well, you're admitting a lack of faith. Well, listen, a lack of faith is a lack of faith. If you don't have that knowledge and you don't have that confidence inside you, you could say the words all you want, but if you don't have the confidence in you, then you don't really believe it. It's like the man in the 9th chapter of Mark who brought his son to Jesus. And his son, if you remember, was tormented by a mute spirit that would come upon him and just torment him and literally throw him into a fire or do other means of physical harm to him. And Jesus said to him these words, said, if you can believe, all things are possible to him who believes. Verse 24 says, immediately the father of the child cried out and said with tears, Lord, I believe, help my unbelief. What he was saying is, Lord, I'm trying my best to believe, but I'm struggling with that belief. Lord, help me. He was being honest with the Lord, and I'm telling you that we need to get to where we're honest with the Lord. So many times we think it's a lack of faith to say, Lord, I'm struggling right now. I want to believe, but I can't believe. But if we'd be honest, we're just like that father. You see, I believe that nothing in your life will change until we can pray, Lord, help me. I'm trying my best. I'm trying to walk in faith. I'm trying to believe in absolute faith in you, but I'm struggling. My lips say I believe, but my actions say I don't. That's what happened with that man that I was talking about at the beginning of this, that he's witnessed his wife receive a miracle. And he wanted to believe, and his wife was saying, I believe I'm healed. But then he said, but we're going to see what the doctors have to say about this and see how they can help you. Once we can admit that we have a struggle with our belief, a struggle with our faith, we can say, God, I know. I don't really understand it, but I trust you. I don't know how you're going to do it, but I know you're going to do it. You said in your word, you're my healer. You said in your word, you're my provider. You're my strength. You're my support. Everything I have need of, you said it. And Lord, I'm struggling to believe right now, so I'm asking you, help me to believe. See, we need to get to the place that we can say, Lord, when I'm in the wilderness, you're able. We need to get to the place where we can say, when there's a giant standing there looking you right in the face, Lord, you're able. Lord, I'm going through a fiery trial that I don't understand right now, but I know you're able. See, he's able to promote you when you've been overlooked and passed over on your job. He's able to promote your finances. He's able to promote your position. He's able to use you even when you think you're unusable. He's able to do whatever he wants to do. Jesus said, if you believe it, you can have it. To quote Paul as he wrote to the Ephesians, let me read this so I'll get it right. Now to him who is able to do exceedingly abundantly above, far more than what we can imagine. Let me read it again. Now to him who is able to do exceedingly abundantly above all that we ask or think, according to the power that works in us. Now get that. The power of God, if you're a child of God, that power already resides in you. We just have to get to the place that we have enough confidence that God will do exactly what he said he will do. Whatever it takes to use the words, God is able. Lord, help me with my unbelief. Lord, get these obstacles out of my way. Sometimes we have to give some things up in order to exercise our faith. Until we can get it in our heart, in our hard hearts. I used to hear saints of God testify in the church, I know that I know that I know. You've got to get to the place that you know that well, that level, that no matter what it looks like, no matter what it sounds like, no matter what anybody else is saying, God is able. You need to know this. Jesus is just waiting for you to recognize the fact that nothing that you or I face is too difficult for him, and we come to him in faith and ask for help. What he said to that father, he's saying to you right now. If you believe, all things are possible to him that believes. God is able. I hope that helps somebody today. Come back and see me again here at The Quest.